Mike Perlow, and welcome to Sports Page. These are my partners, Joe Riccio and Dan Hayes. We're your hosts on the show. Today we'll be discussing the NHL playoffs and how we particularly feel the Bruins will do against the Montreal Canadiens in the first round of the playoffs. Dan?
Today we'll also be discussing the Sugar Ray Leonard-Marvin Hagler fight. Joe?
Finally, we'll have a special presentation, the best of Sports Page. So stick around and enjoy yourself. We'll be right back.
Guess what the Hackett's are doing?
Taking another cruise.
No, they've joined the Peace Corps.
You're kidding. What in the world is the Peace Corps doing?
Peace Corps. It's creating food systems in Africa, building homes in Costa Rica, and fighting malaria in Asia. It's teaching math and learning French. It's working side by side. It's been tough. But for 25 years, the Peace Corps has been making a difference in the world.
My goodness.
Why, I had no idea.
Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
Welcome back now, and we'd like to talk about the Sugar Ray Leonard-Marvin Hagler fight. As you know, there was a lot of controversy over the points, how the judges saw it. And Joe, I know you were there at the fight in Boston Garden, and how did you view the fight?
Well, the way I saw it was that Sugar Ray Leonard definitely won the fight. I really can't see any way that Marvin Hagler had won the fight because Sugar Ray was just quicker and Hagler had a tough time chasing him and landing punches, and Hagler didn't land as many punches as he usually does.
Well, the judges, I woke up this morning, I was shocked to see that Leonard won. But the judges, they were close for two judges, and then there was a great disparity. Why do you think there was such a great disparity with that final judge?
Well, I think that the two judges who had it close, like the one that had Hagler winning the fight, won the fight, was off because I don't think Hagler was close enough to win the fight, or I think Leonard had soundly beat him, really.
Joe, there's one thing I've heard conflicting reports through the week about writers' opinions on the fight, and they seem to feel that it was a lot closer than I've been led to believe by some people. Do you feel it maybe should have been a draw? Because the fact that you've got to realize that Hagler was the champion, and when it's that close, maybe you should let them fight again or just keep it a draw. What do you think?
When it's that close, I think it's up to the judges. They knew it was a close fight, but it really wasn't close enough to say that Marvin Hagler...
Well,
Hagler seemed
apparently
confused.
it was by looking at the points.
Well, that's the way those particular judges had voted for it, but I think that Leonard was quicker, as I said before, and he confused Marvin Hagler by his speed, and Hagler wasn't ready for the fight to be like that. I think Hagler wanted the fight to go his way and just slugging it out, but Leonard didn't do it what Hagler wanted him to do.
I'll tell you, I've got to question the ability of the judges, because when you find one judge finds Hagler by 2 points, or finds Leonard by 2 points, and then another judge finds Leonard by, what was it, 8 points?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work that way. Judges, I mean, obviously some people have different opinions, but it should not be that much of a difference.
Well, it doesn't matter how many. The guy could have had Leonard won by 50 points.
Well, that would have been ridiculous.
But see, it doesn't matter if that judge had Leonard by 1 point or 50 points. It was a split decision. Okay. Two judges.
What's your reaction, either of you guys? What's your reaction to the fact that many people have said that it was fixed?
Oh,
no, I think that's ludicrous because it can't be fixed because Marvin Hagler would not have given up the title for anything in the world.
He has a lot of pride.
No, I don't mean that he fixed it.
Well,
no, I mean,
who fixed?
I mean that,
the judges?
That maybe someone for Leonard paid off one of the judges.
No, that's because it was too.
I mean, I'm not saying it happened, but it's been suggested by people.
Well, I can't believe that.
I don't think it happened either.
Because
but
Leonard just fought much better than Hagler. He confused him, and it was just you really have to see the fight to realize that it could not have been fixed. That the judges, because judges vote the way they want to vote and the way they think it went.
Right.
I mean, the other two judges, for all you know, they could have been way off.
One of the things that got me is Leonard won and Hagler lost, but during the pre-fight hysteria months in advance, Hagler was very cocky, it seemed. He was very arrogant. He wore the war too, and Leonard will fall.
It was funny because Leonard,
he had arrogance.
Every time when they had the press conferences, Leonard was just sitting there, and you could tell he was thinking inside.
Well, going into the fight,
I'm gonna beat this guy.
Going into the fight,
he didn't say anything.
Going into the fight, stepping in the ring while they're all announcing the fight is, Leonard had the face of like a warrior, that he was in there to fight and to win.
Maybe that's...
Serious face. Hagler, on the other hand, he had a serious face, but he was nervous. It seemed like he was uneasy and something was upsetting him because he wasn't sure. Leonard had the advantage of strategy advantage because he knew what Hagler was going to do. He knew that Hagler was going to come out and just fight it how Hagler usually fights. But Hagler did not know how Leonard would come out. He didn't know how quick he was because we haven't seen him in 3 years, and that fight against Kevin Howard doesn't mean anything. Well, because it was a total different Sugar Ray Leonard than we saw 3 years ago. And he was just back to normal. It looked like the Hagler's been out of the ring for 5 years.
It could have hurt him, though, that overconfidence maybe, that great
hurts
pride.
a lot of players.
It could have hurt
athletes.
It could have hurt Hagler because, again, he was really mouthing off to the media saying, when I beat Leonard, I'm going to such and such.
I don't think that was a cockiness. I think he was more of a seriousness, that he was...
Intensity,
yeah, intense. And he was trying to psych out Sugar Ray Leonard because during the past week, when you saw them in the paper, Sugar Ray always had that face on like he didn't know what to do. And Hagler was all smiles, I'm going to beat this guy. And so you kind of get the feeling going into the fight that Hagler's the better man, but it proved not to be that way.
This is going to go down in history as one of the greatest upsets in boxing.
What do you think? Think there'll be a rematch?
I think so, because both men have enormous amounts of pride, especially Hagler. And I think Hagler wants to go out on top.
I feel that, I don't know which one, but I feel one of them will retire. This may sound weird.
I think both of them should retire.
I think one of them will retire. I think one of them will not because they will find a reason to continue fighting. I think one of them will. I think either, for Sugar Ray, he'll be smart actually. Hey, I got the title. Leave while it's good. Don't blow your chance. On the other hand, he may say, well, look at what I've done. I got to keep going, prove how good I am.
Well, so, Leonard, he has nothing to lose if he fights again. Even if he loses the belt, that doesn't mean as much to him. It actually doesn't mean anything to him. Because he said after the fight that Hagler's still the champion. He just beat him. He's just a better fighter. See,
he said that?
Yes. He himself wanted to beat Marvin Hagler. He won. And that's what he wanted to win for all these years. He wanted to beat Marvin Hagler. It doesn't matter what he wins out of it, money or the belt. It didn't seem like that mattered to him. He just wanted to say, I beat Marvin Hagler.
Both men should retire. If you don't know, Leonard made $11 million, flat out. Now, Hagler made 12, but he could make $20 million. That's pretty good.
How does he make 20?
He takes a percent of the gate.
Oh.
That $20 million is an enormous amount of money. So I think they should both retire. Boxing is it's a very vicious sport, and a lot of boxers don't know when to go out. Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. I think they're both proud men. They should just retire.
I think Sugar Ray Leonard is going to fight again.
I think it'll be a rematch.
He's good enough.
They have such pride.
Hagler's too hungry though to stop fighting.
Yeah, well, Hagler,
He's not going to go out on a losing note.
Hagler wants to go, and he wants to beat Leonard again. I think that there is going to be a rematch. I think Leonard will win again, but I think Leonard's going to keep fighting. Maybe if there's no rematch, he's still going to keep fighting. Maybe he'll fight Hearns or some other fighter. But he'll fight, and it's not going to matter if he loses because he won his championship.
Hagler let Leonard take the fight to him. And he was very frustrated as the fight wore on, as a journalist said, and as Joey said, that he was off balance, and Leonard had him every which way but lose.
Well, the first 4 rounds, Leonard pretty much dominated. I think I had it 3 rounds to 1 after the first 4, Leonard. And from then on, Leonard started fighting Hagler's fight by slugging it out a little more and just fighting. And then he spiffed it up a little and started, do his fancy stuff. And I think that's what really hurt Marvin Hagler. But it's a great fight, and
it helped out boxing because
it definitely did.
Boxing needed a fight that had 2 great champions, and this was a fight that had 2 great champions. Great promotion by Bob Arum.
All these fights appear to get incredible promotions.
Well, right now we'll start talking about the National Hockey League's playoffs, and like the Bruins are playing Montreal, and who do you think is gonna win?
Well, I'll tell you, it's really 50-50 if you ask me. I'm going to be objective right now, even though I'd like to say the Bruins are definitely going to win it. But being objective, I feel the Canadians are very hot, which would tend to tell you that the Canadians should kill the Bruins. But the Canadians have now won 9 in a row, ending the season, and that actually may be sort of bad for them, because when you win 9 in a row, there's just so many more games you're going to win in a row. I don't think the Canadians are going to go and win 13 in a row, which would mean they'd win the next 4 games against the Bruins. I think, regardless of that even, I think the Bruins proved recently in their last game against the Canadians this season, even though they lost, that they could beat the Canadians in Montreal.
That's the problem they've always had, though. They just can't win at the Forum in Montreal.
They can, though. They beat them this year once, and they almost beat them the other last week.
Because I think Montreal will take them in 4 straight games.
I think, well, I don't know if 4 straight games. I think it'll go
longer. The Bruins are awesome in the Garden and can beat the Canadians in Montreal.
Sounds familiar. Well, it sounds like the Celtics.
But,
yeah, well, it's almost as good.
The Bruins... You're
getting me to be no longer objective, Dan.
The Bruins are getting better. They're inconsistent, though. Throughout the season, they've been inconsistent.
That's why I'm saying if they got hot, they would.
If they get hot, they have a really good chance.
They've been playing well.
But there's no
But then again, Montreal is playing at the top of their game right now, 9 in a row, and they might not cool down. It's a matter of if Montreal is going to cool down and if the Bruins get hot. That's what it's going to come down to.
There are 2 points to remember. 1, Montreal is a defending Stanley Cup champion, and 2, they have 2 very good goaltenders. And all the experts in hockey say this: if you have 2, you're going to have 2 hot goaltenders now, because the first series is going to be extended, the best out of 7.
Yeah.
So you can't have it like a Patrick Roy and just ride them to the final. So if they have 2 hot goaltenders, which they do, the sky's the limit for the Montreal Canadiens.
I feel there's a certain limit, no matter how good a team is, that their streak is going to eventually end. And it tends to happen in the National Hockey League that once a team is ridden on a certain level of excellence for a while, when they stop, they go down for a while.
Believe me, I want the Bruins, but I just don't see how. It's going to be a war. It's going to be just a brutal battle and survival of the fittest. But I just see Montreal with they have more balance. It seems like the Bruins have always had, even when they had that great year with Pete Peters in 82-83, that they had that one dominating line, and then the scoring kind of slacked off, and they didn't get. All they got was defense. But Montreal is well balanced.
Well, we'll see how it goes. But do you think that any of the teams in the playoffs, including the Bruins and Montreal, are going to be affected by the 7-game series?
Yes, definitely. In fact, can I tell you something? I think it may be benefit for the underdog teams, because in 7 games, even if you lose the first 2, you have time to regroup, come back, and you can still win it. It's like in the NBA playoffs, where teams have gone up 1-0, 2-0, and they end up losing.
I think it makes it more exciting, but I don't know if it's going to work for hockey.
I don't think.
I think 7 games is too much for hockey.
It's going to be in the first week of June. There has to be a limit.
Especially the first round, which is not as exciting as, say, the
These guys play 80 games. They're emotionally and physically worn out. And how can they play, you figure now, almost 23 games if they go each series goes the limit? God, that's 103 games. That's exhausting. I think, to answer your question, I think Edmonton would be affected because they're a finesse team. And if a team like Calgary last year can batter them around and forecheck them and put defensive pressure on them, they can wear them out by getting them
I think it would exactly be the opposite. I think it would be someone more like the Canadians or the Bruins, in that a part of their game is key on hitting, and the Bruins and the Canadians both do that. And you get tired after a while. You also get injured. And if you're hitting night after night, you're going to get tired. The hitting is going to lessen after a few games. And
let's not forget Hartford. They won the Adams Division title. They're a very hot team with Michael Liu. They are going to be heard from. I really believe that. There's more parity.
It's interesting, though. Last year, the Quebec was in first and Hartford was in 4th. This year it's reversed. And last year, Hartford beat Quebec. You never know. Quebec could beat Hartford, although I don't think so.
There are a lot of surprises. Remember last year, St. Louis and Toronto, 2 mediocre teams in the regular season, surprised a lot of teams, and they gave a lot of battles during the playoffs. But I think it's good for the hockey in one sense because there's more parity. They let too many teams in, but there's more parity this year than, say, last year or the year before that. So it's a double-edged sword. It could help hockey. It could also hurt it.
Okay, well, that's about all we have to say about the National Hockey League playoffs. But when we return, we'll come back with the best of Sports Page. We think you'll really enjoy it. Stay tuned.
You weren't supposed to smoke in elevators.
People don't read signs.
Some people don't even have the courtesy not to smoke in enclosed areas.
Some people don't know that 3 out of 4 people do not smoke cigarettes.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Their smoke is hazardous to your health. So don't allow other people to smoke in non-smoking areas. This has been a public service announcement. For more information, contact GASP of Massachusetts, 266-2088.
We're back now, and before we want to get on to anything else, I just wanted to say that Mike Perlow's birthday was last week, and the night of the fight, actually, April 6th, and we'd all like to, for myself and everyone here at Sports Page, congratulations, Mike, 17 years old.
Thanks,
Happy birthday. Thanks, Dan.
And, well, as you know, that every show is incomplete without some bloopers. So we're going to show you some rare Sports Page bloopers right now. So here we go. Hello, welcome to Sports Page.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm a soccer player, and I don't see enough soccer on TV. Do you think that there should be more? What do you think that...
What the hell?
Number 6 is Oakland. Sure, they have Jose Canseco, and sure, they have Reggie Jackson, but they have no pitching whatsoever. And number 7, I don't know. And that's my picks.
My picks are to win the division in the American League East is the New York Yankees.
He's 6'2", he's got a great body.
Easy play. Kids in Little League make that play every day. Easy play. Kids in Little League make that play every day. Easy play. Kids in Little League make that play every day. Kids in Little League make that play every day. Kids in Little League make that play every day. I'm sorry if I'm sounding repetitive. I'm sorry if I'm sounding repetitive.
He's got a great body.
Okay, well, recently we were at a press conference, the three of us, and we were asked some questions. So let's see what they asked us.
Joe, if you were going to write a book, what would you write about?
The NCAA tournament.
Mike, do you think Bill Buckner should have gotten the ground ball?
Easy play. Kids in Little League make that play every day like it's no big deal. Buckner was not able to make it because of his injuries. Should have been taken out, so...
Dan, what do you think about Sugar Ray Leonard beating Marvin Hagler?
He's a credit to basketball. I really believe that. As you know, each week we do introductions to the show, and here's a unique difference between them.
Hi, I'm Joe Riccio, and this is Dan Hayes, and welcome to Sports Page.
Hi, I'm Mike Perlow, and welcome to Sports Page.
Hi, I'm Dan Hayes. These are my partners Mike Perlow and Joey Riccio, and welcome to Sports Page, the show that will bring you heated discussions on the collegiate and professional level.
Okay, well, before we go, we just wanted to mention one other thing, and that's about the shirts that we were wearing today. I'm sure you've noticed. They each represent a different Boston sports team, and we'd just like to mention something about each of them. Dan, first of all, is wearing a shirt, a Patriots shirt. It's the actual kind of shirt worn by the players. And and this has the number 81 for Stephen Starring, a great wide receiver for the Patriots. And I really like your shirt, Dan.
Thank you. Joe's wearing a Patriots shirt with their insignia, blue and red, and he has a football player across the middle of it. It's a nice shirt, Joe.
Thanks a lot, Dan. And Mike here is wearing a official Boston Bruins shirt. It's got the thing in the middle, and it's got a Bruin on the sleeve. And on both sleeves. And number 8, Cam Neely, a great player for the Bruins, and hope they go to the Stanley Cup this year.
I hope they did too. Thanks, Joe. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. We hope you've enjoyed the show. I think it's been a really great show today. And for myself, Mike Perlow, Dan Hayes, and Joe Riccio, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.